This is what it is. My boy Draft Pick in here today, man.
Yes, sir.
And there we go, man. We finna get this interview started. And let me get my phone out, man. That was unprofessional, not me having my phone out already, but yeah. Now, first of all, tell me the origins of Draft Pick. Like, where did this all begin at? Where did Draft Pick begin at?
So I lived in Las Vegas in my high school years.
Okay.
And my rap name was the #1 Draft Pick. And I used to go to 98.5 with Mike B. And that's how I actually met my man Blaze 5. Shout out to Blaze 5. And he used to let us rap on the show, Freestyle Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yo, the name #1 Draft Pick is too damn long, man. You got to cut that. He's like, man, we're just going to call you Draft Pick. And throughout the years, man, it's Draft Pickio, you know, that got coined by one of the fans in Japan. It's like, I love your album, Draft Pickio.
Yeah.
And I kind of ran with that. And so that's kind of the origin, man. But it really is the #1 Draft Pick. But I shortened it to Draft Pick. A lot of people call me Draft Pickio. You know, we're kind of in the era right now with music that a lot of people use their government names. But I'm kind of old school. I'm kind of old school, and so I still use the rap name, right?
Mm-hmm.
I came from that era, but a lot of people use their names. I do sprinkle my name Jason throughout the album, so I don't hide that whatsoever.
Is that more of you? Like, is those songs where you mention Jason? Is those more those songs where you get in tune with yourself?
Absolutely,
more serious songs.
Absolutely, man. It's me talking to myself.
Okay.
Because Draft Pick and Jason are the same person,
right?
But they're dual,
exactly.
Right? Where Draft Pick, I can be bigger as Draft Pick. Where Jason might have the insecurities of dealing with being a family man, a husband, a father. Where Draft Pick can be the artist, and a lot of times I can blend the two. I'm able to kind of, because I'm a Pisces,
right?
So I can dip into the fantasy and dip back out like a light switch.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't know how to read that. Because they're like, man, is this dude always a character? But it's like wrestling in a sense,
yeah.
Right? You see Undertaker doing the same, but when you see Undertaker out and about, he's Mark,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But you got to be able to separate the two, and that's where I feel like this album, The Prestige, Draft Pick, and Jason, it's a movie,
mm-hmm.
but it's my movie telling my story.
So how long have you been doing music?
Man, I started in 2004. I lived in Las Vegas.
So you started in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I started in Las Vegas. I actually worked at a shout out to Chop and Tobin Dodge. I worked at a car dealership called Tobin Dodge, and they had a show called The Chopper Show.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, John Cena had the whole Thugonomics. So Chop would write my raps, and they would be crazy raps. And he'd have me hop out the car, and I would say, knock, knock, knock. That's why in my videos, I'm always like, knock, knock, knock. It's your boy Draft Pick.
Yeah.
That was from the show that I used to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I started to do that, then I was at the radio station, and then I ended up getting a deal through Chop on Bear Ends Records, and I ended up moving back to the Quad Cities, but I put out that album, Feel Good Music, in 2008.
Okay.
And I stopped doing music for 12 years. One of it, legal reasons. The label said I owed them money, which I did, because I didn't make no money off of that album. They didn't make no money off of that album. And then life happens, right?
Right.
You get married, you get divorced, you have kids, you have setbacks. And it wasn't until 2020 that I really got back into it. 2019, I got a studio in my house. I started writing. And then an opportunity presented itself because I always kept in touch with Twista throughout the years. That his guy, Type Mike, was like, hey, you want to come up? Twista's having a listener party. And I was like, man, I got this record, Sexy Girls, that's got an open verse. He's like, bring the session. I mean, listen, closed mouths don't get fed, right? If you rocks with it, you know, maybe something can happen. If not, you know, it is what it is. Went up there, but I told myself, I manifested it. I said, man, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to get this record. I'm going to get Twista on this record.
Yeah.
And it was a hell of a night, man, because not only was we vibing in the studio, and it was a small setting of like maybe 25 people, but he wanted to get down to business, and he knocked out that verse, and I mean, the rest is history, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Dope film.
So you said you lived in Las Vegas, and now you did music in Las Vegas, and now Iowa. So what would you say differ in the, two different locations?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you say did you have better, friction? Like, was you going faster?
No.
Was it better for you in Vegas, or was it better for you here?
At that time, Las Vegas wasn't on the music scene. Iowa wasn't on the music scene like mainstream as well, right?
Yeah.
So there was no real outlet, right?
Yeah.
Although Las Vegas was close to LA,
Right.
with Capitol Records and RCA, and so you had opportunities. Plus, you had very talented people that would come to Las Vegas and play,
Right.
right? And so, prime example is I remember one day I bumped into LL Cool J at the Bellagio.
Just on some.
I just bumped into him,
pass by,
and I was like, "Hey man, let me rap to you." And at that time, I wasn't very good, and I was nervous as well, right? I mean, that's LL Cool J, one of my favorites, right? And I spit to him. Same thing with Ja Rule, right? Ja Rule was playing the craps. I tapped on his shoulder. I said, "Man, let me get an interview." And to my surprise, man, he stopped doing craps and he actually paid attention and listened, right? Now, none of these things manifest, but what I'm saying is when you're in Las Vegas, you have opportunity where you can be in Iowa, you're not going to bump into somebody like that. Even if you go to Chicago, Chicago is a big market, but, a lot of artists from Chicago have to leave Chicago to get on. Right? And that's just the reality of the map because most of these labels are on the coast. Right. But to answer your question though, man, I really got the traction being back home. Being back home because, a lot of people support each other, you know what I'm saying? And Vegas is a big city, but with it being a big city, and there's no real outlet, people aren't gravitating to people because it's when you think of Las Vegas, you think of the lights,
the gambling,
gambling, and you think about the entertainment side, but you're not thinking of an artist coming out of Las Vegas.
You're right about that.
But they got extreme talent there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same thing with Iowa. When you think of Iowa, right, most people are not thinking rap.
Right.
They're thinking maybe country. They're thinking maybe, obviously they're thinking Caitlin Clark, right?
Right.
That's kind of the new trend, right? But it doesn't matter if you're in Iowa, Las Vegas, or near Montana. Talent is talent. Talent's all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to get out of this pre-notion that the only talent is coming either from New York or Los Angeles. And that's not the case because you look at a city like Chicago, I don't have to name the list of talented people. Right? And I do believe that if Twista wasn't, and he's my favorite, I'm being biased. Twista is my favorite artist of all time.
Yeah.
But had Twista came from LA or New York, I think he would have had a different career because of the setting, right? And
a better career, or
I think he would have had a better career. I think also, obviously Kanye West, right? But he's the outlier, right?
Yeah. For
every Kanye West that broke through to that level that he did, I mean, how many other artists from Chicago did not, right?
Right.
But he's an unbelievable talent, and like I said, talent will always trump anything else. But you mix the talent with the skill set and the work ethic and some discipline and humility, and that's a perfect recipe of being great.
Facts. Okay. So, one of my questions is I want to ask you, so what inspires you to do music? Like, what keeps you going, like, to the point that you just, like, I'm going to keep on going and going and going and going and going and going?
I think it's kind of a mixed bag of answer I'm about to give you, but I'm going to land the plane. I'm very tunnel vision, and it's not because I think I'm better than anybody. I'm not a narcissist, right? I'm a very humble person. I'm a very down-to-earth, ground-level individual. You know this, 20.
Yeah, for sure.
But when I'm in the pocket of creating music, I'm very much in a tunnel vision, so I don't really pay attention to what other people are doing. I don't follow trends. Oh, this is hot, so let me jump on that to see if I can get a wave. I do the feel-good music. I stay in my lane because, one, I'm comfortable in it, and two, that's what I know, right? And I grew up in an era that I felt like hip-hop was a golden era of hip-hop in the 90s and the 2000s. You had the R&B fusion with the rap, with the pop. So I grew up big fan of Puff Daddy, Mace, the whole Bad Boy, and then you have Rockefeller Records, and you had Murder Inc. and Def Jam, and the list goes on, Rough Riders, right?
Right.
But I always felt like Puff and the Bad Boy had the blueprint of what worked. And I always envisioned myself, I would have been an artist that would have been signed to a label like Def Jam or a Bad Boy, you know what I'm saying, where you understand that, you don't have a niche audience. If you make music that is niche, you have a niche audience. But if you expand it and that multiple people of all different backgrounds can vibe to it, they're going to vibe to it, because at the end of the day, if it's good music, it's good music.
Exactly.
That's why I look at it, big dog.
Okay, for sure. Would you say your kids or your family's inspiration, or?
Ah, man, they absolutely are, man. My wife and my children ground me. They anchor me down.
Yeah.
Right? Especially my wife. I'll be down in the basement creating music. And a prime example with the Twista record, she told me straight up once I got the Twista record back, she's like, you gotta redo your verse. You gotta redo your verse.
Oh, she said,
yeah,
she heard his.
Yeah, she said, you gotta redo it.
Go back in.
So I redid the verse 3 different times.
Yeah.
But she's not a yes woman.
And you don't need nobody around you saying that.
She's gonna keep me on my toes, my P's and Q's. And my children, when I know I got a hit record, is when my children are running around the house singing it.
Yeah.
That's when I know I got a hit record.
For sure.
And with the album The Prestige, I've also ingraded not only the talent that is on the poster, but my wife is on the album. My daughter, I got a song called Love Song.
The wife's on the album.
My wife is on The Prestige. We got a song called Candy. She's singing the ad-libs for Riding. She's singing the kissing game. I'm going to kiss you. Yeah. I got my cousin Keisha on that. I got my cousin Bonnie. So it's very much a family affair.
Yeah.
And that's what it's got to be, right? On my whiteboard in the basement, I had a list of people I wanted to work with on this album way before I ever got in the studio with Twista. He was on the whiteboard, right? Mm-hmm. Did I know I was going to get him? No, but I manifest, and I believe when you speak things in, you can manifest it. You know, when you have faith in God and you believe in yourself, right? You can manifest things so that can happen. I remember, I was driving a beat down Honda Accord, and I manifested I want that Dodge Challenger. Yeah. I didn't know how I was going to get it, but I wanted it. I manifested I wanted to buy that house. You know what I'm saying? When I lived on the west end of Davenport. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew I was going to get there, right? Yeah. And that's not my undoing. That's God. I have faith in God. I have faith muscles. And I knew, and God has proved to me throughout the years that he can make the impossible possible, but you got to believe in him, and you got to walk in faith, and you got to be able to put in the work. So this might be my album, The Prestige, but a list of people allowed me to use their gifts and talent that helped me paint a picture to tell a story, which is the movie, The Prestige.
That's right. I've seen you work with artists for collabs. What collab means the most to you?
I think it's pretty obvious. The collab that means the most to me, 20, is the record I did with Twista.
Okay.
Twista is my favorite artist of all time. Uh-huh. I have bought every Twista album ever. And back then, we didn't do the streaming things with the phone, right? Every Friday, new music. Yeah, you actually had to get your ass up and go to the Best Buy or go to Target or go somewhere to buy a CD, right? And that's one of the reasons why when I put this album out, I wasn't thinking financial gain, right? I wasn't thinking like, I'm trying to make my money back. That never was the mindset. Okay. So I printed out the posters and the CDs. And the reason I did that is because I remember a time where people would do meet and greet, and you would get your favorite artist, or the artist that you went to go get that album, and he's there and he's signing the autograph, and you get to take a picture with him, and you're listening to the music, and you open up the CD, and you physically got it in your hand, and you got that poster, and that means something, right? Right. And I get it, we live in a different era now where it's all digital, but I'm, again, old school. So when I meet people, and they want to, hey, man, I really like your album, and I got posters and CDs, I'm like, yo, here you go, man, here's the CD and poster. I don't even charge them. Yeah. I don't even charge them. I don't be like, man, give me $10. I don't even do that, man, because the thing is, they're going to remember that. Right? Everybody got a phone. And they can listen to the music, man. But when you got that physical copy of that CD and you got that poster, I just had a kid. I dropped my kid off for Halloween, and some kid came up to me, draft pick, man, can I get a picture with you? I took the picture with him, and I had a couple posters in the trunk, and I said, let me give this to you, man. That made his day, right?
For sure, man. It's your day, too.
It made my day, too.
Because I would have made my day.
It made my day, but it made his day, and that's what it was about, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I go to work. In fact, after this podcast, I'm going home to go to bed because I got to work tonight. Yeah. Right? So I'm an everyday person just like anybody else. And I think that's why people can relate to me so much, is because I'm not a cocky dude. I don't walk in the room and I think that I'm better than anybody. It's never been my MO. And I think that's the reason why God has blessed me to be able to make a connection with Twista, to be able to be in rooms that normally people scratch their head, and I'm like, I don't get this guy. This guy working 70 hours a week. He got a bunch of kids. Like, okay, his music is good, but how in the hell is he getting in the room with Twista?
Yeah.
How he got records with Do or Die? How did this guy even know who Scotty Music is?
Yeah.
Shout out to Scotty. He's doing big things with L Street.
Scotty cool. People that like Scotty.
How is this possible, right? And I'll give you a funny story about Tone the Boss. Shout out to Tone the Boss. Tone the Boss, I never met him before, right? Calls me. We have a mutual friend that we know, DJ K Young. Shout out to DJ K Young. So he calls me, right? He's like, Draft, I like your music. We're on the phone for about an hour, going back and forth talking. I'm like, man, I got this record, Team Iowa. I got an open verse, and I think you'd be perfect with it. I love his energy. Like a week later, he came over to my house. The first time I ever met him, laid that verse. And for like 2 years, it's like, we got to put that record out. We got to put that record out. And one thing, I got a song on the album called Lollygag. I do lollygag, but listen, the reality of it is there's only one me. It's 24 hours in a day. I'm working 12 to 14 hours. And at the end of the day, I still have to be a father and a husband. The music does take a backseat. But with that, I'm able to perfect my craft, 20.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you listen to the album from beginning to the end, you're like, bro, I get quantity and I get quality. It's not something that normally happens. And that happened because at times where I was frustrated, like, he's doing this, they're doing that. I'm sitting on this music, you know. But it all came together because I was patient. I stayed with the vision. I didn't panic. I didn't, people in my ear, one ear and out the other. But at the end of the day, I knew I had something special. And we're here right now.
Have you did any collabs with artists from the QC?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that's on my album, I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to preference this. Anybody that is doing something that they love outside of providing for their family, I'm a fan of. So somebody is, they just love making pancakes on their day off and making plates. I'm a fan of them.
Yeah.
So anybody that I have on my album, I am a fan of them. Right. So I sold out a Torian Ball. Yep. I think he's uberly talented. And so I had this record that I was like, he'd fit perfect on it. Now, did I know I was going to get him on it? Again, his name is on the whiteboard. I got no clue, right? Mm-hmm. But, closed mouths don't get fed. And me and Torian, shout out to him, we were able to make something happen. And it's one of my favorite records on that album. Obviously, Pzy, one of my favorites. I've known Pzy for a long time. Tapped on his shoulder. I said, man, I got this record. Let's get it in. And then, obviously, Tone the Boss, man, like I just told you, alluded how me and Tone the Boss, and I said, man, you would be perfect on this record. Another person that is uberly talented in the Quad Cities is Derek Levi. Unbelievable talent. A great guy. He worked with me on the Feel Good Music album that I did back in 2008. Mm-hmm. So it was a no-brainer to tap him on the shoulder and have him all over it. So, again, I got my family on it. I got my wife. I got my kids. I got my cousins on this project. So it's a mixed bag of great talent, which is family, friends, and some professional legends like Twista and Do or Die. Scotty Music, a funny story about Scotty Music. And this is a true story, by the way. So Do or Die had a record with Twista called Hotel Room. Hmm. And I can tell the story now because the song is out and everybody knows. Everyone that's a part of the story. So Scotty is on that hook. And that they showed a clip of that song, Hotel Room, for like 30 seconds. And like 2 years that record didn't come out. I reached out to Scotty Music. Mind you, I don't know him, he don't know me. And I said, I'm going to cash app you $100 if you send me that song. He said, who are you? I said, man, listen, I'm a big fan. I need that record. I don't know you ain't going to push it out. I said, well, listen, man, you don't know that. But I'm telling you, that record ain't going to see the day of light outside of my phone. So he did it. He sent me that record, Hotel Room. And I had that record with Do or Die, Twista, and Scotty Music. He produced it and he's singing on that record for 2 years till it became and it did like 30 million hits on YouTube. But that's how me and Scotty worked. That's how I got to meet Scotty. And I said, hey, man. He said, I know you do music, man. You ever want to collab? And I was able to get Scotty, and we just, one record turned into two turned into three. Next thing you know, we're up in Joliet, you, me, and Dez. The first time we ever met Scotty Music.
fun day.
And we went ahead and shot that incredible video because one thing I will say about you, Tony.
What we end up at, like a medieval.
We was at a medieval carnival or something.
It was fun, though.
It was fun. It was fun. Like, people was just looking around like, what the hell?
It's like, why are y'all here?
But you know what, man? We really just, off top of the head, man, we was just looking at locations and said, let's just shoot it. Let's just do it, right? And I think we had met some girl at the festival, and she ended up being, he was like, put her in the video.
Yeah.
She's the main lady in the video.
Yeah.
But when we had a good time.
Man, that was a very good time.
We had a great time in Iowa City. We had a great time at the Archer's Bar.
Mm-hmm.
We shot that music video. And one of the reasons, and I told you off camera, but one of the reasons that I love working with you is, I forgot who told me about you, but I went on your Facebook and I saw these videos and these angles and these shots. And I was like, man, that brother got a gift. And every song that I make, I always have a music video in my head.
And that's how you come. You come prepaid. I mean, you're pre-planned. Like, you call me like, bro, I got this idea. I really just need you to cut your camera on and shoot it. But this is how we're gonna do it. And I appreciate you every time. That makes my job that much easier.
But and that's the thing. So every song in my head, I got a music video, and I just needed a guy that had the eye.
Yeah.
I needed a guy that had the eye, and then the extra bonus to that is just, you're a cool motherfucker.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate
it. You know what I'm saying? You a cool dude, and I always tell this story. But when we first met, and we're shooting the video for Mash Up on the west end of Davenport.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, I'm a little older, man. He's like, I can tell, bro, because you got 3 verses and hooks, and this is a 5-minute song. And I'm used to shooting music videos that are 1 verse. And we
that's a true story.
He's like, this is a goddamn movie set. We over here spending hours over here shooting this thing, man.
That's a true story. True story. True story.
Right up.
But it's always a good time, bro. It's always a good time, bro. And shout out Dez, because Dez right there. That's his man's, and man, I'm telling y'all, go watch any video that we got, man. And Dez is right there with him, man. Like, this is good, man. These dudes is good kids, man. I like these dudes, man.
And I appreciate that, 20, man. I really
appreciate you too, man. Back to the Prestige.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, give us what first of all, don't call me slow, but I should have looked it up, but what does Prestige mean, and what's your meaning for the album? Like, why was it? Like, why you name it that?
The Prestige. The definition of the Prestige is greatness.
Okay.
And when I was writing this album, here's the thing a lot of people don't know is that in 2010, I had put the Feel Good Music album out.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to write the Prestige in 2010. Biggest problem that I had was, I couldn't get out of my own way,
mm-hmm.
right? So I had got a divorce. I lost my house. I lost the job that I had at John Deere, and I can speak these things up because these are testimonies, and hopefully my truth, someone can watch this and they can say, hey, I can be inspired by this.
Sure.
And so for 7, 8 years, I wasn't doing no music, but I was constantly writing, right? One, I didn't have any outlet whatsoever. What it do? Yes, sir, you already know the deal. I didn't have an outlet to even make music. I didn't have the money to make music, but I could grab a piece of paper and a pen. And so my gift has always been to be able to write songs. And so I eventually, man, I was able to put it together, man. And with God, with my wife, with my family, I was able to slowly put the pieces together of my life back together, which I was able to do the music, and it transpires through the music. And so the Prestige to me means the best version of myself. So when people listen to not only this album, but the B-side, because it's collectively one album, but I split it in 2.
Right.
Kind of like how Justin Timberlake did the 2020 experience. And I did that intentionally because I want people to digest. If I put it all out there, that's too much, right? But they digest the first part of it, right? Which is 22 bangers. But when you listen to the beginning to the end, it's a story I'm telling. Yeah, I got radio records, I got female records, but I'm telling a story within the whole album of believing in yourself and betting on yourself. And it doesn't matter if nobody in the room, building, city, town, state, country, it doesn't matter if nobody believes in you. And I always tell my sons this when we're in the gym. The biggest opponent you have in your life is yourself. When you look in the mirror each and every day, that is who you're fighting. That's my competition is me. 10 years from now, I want to be that version. And when I get to that version, I want another 10 years. So I'm never going to meet that guy. I'm never going to meet that guy. And that's the point. But I'm always chasing 20.
Yeah.
And with me chasing is the reason why I can be great. I'm trying to be great. But the album, The Prestige, is literally the Rocky Balboa story in music. That is my story.
Yeah.
Of humble beginnings, of falling. I'm imperfect like anybody else. I don't judge nobody because that's throwing rocks in the glass house.
Right.
I made a million mistakes. I'm going to continue to make a million mistakes. And I'm not always the hero in the story. Sometimes I am the villain. Sometimes I am Thanos. And I ain't Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty about life.
Yeah.
And when you listen to this album, you're going to get the authentic me. And when you listen to the whole body of work, from this side and the B side, it's an experience. And I hope that when people listen to it, it inspires them to want to be great within themselves, whatever they do in their life.
Right.
And also, my music will outlive me. And I wanted to show my kids that, you know what, your dad can be a fuck up. Your dad made a lot of mistakes. But even the dad that makes mistakes fucked up every chance, every direction I could, every door that I couldn't unlock because I didn't have the right keys, it happened to me. But despite all that, I didn't have a pity party. I got my ass up. I figured it out. I climbed out of the hole. I made something out of nothing because of God, because of the grace and mercy and favor of God. And I was able to put this album together. And if your dad can do that, then there's nothing that you can't do when you put your mind to it. So this album is really a love letter to my children. Be as great as they possibly can be.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the album surpassed 1 million streams, right?
It did what?
Surpassed 1 million streams, right?
Over 1 million streams, yes. And
so how did you feel about that number once you seen that number? Like, wow, that's really, people are really taking it.
It was a very, the word that would come to my mind is humble.
Yeah.
Extremely humble. When I look at the Spotify numbers, because they can break down regions, they can break down countries.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see big streams coming out of Japan, New Zealand, Australia, Russia, the UK, I get more streams overseas than I do in my own state.
Yeah. And
that's fine. That's understandable because a lot of artists have had to get success outside of the country to come back.
Yeah, but I bring it back. Yeah.
You know, there's numerous artists that I can point that has happened to. But when I'm a guy who works 12, 13 hours, right? And they don't know this. People don't know. They only see what they see on social media because I post what I allow people to see.
Yeah.
They don't see the knit and grit. They don't see the grind. They don't see the tiredness of working 13 hours at night shift at that, right? And you're trying to make a way out of it. You know, I got to pay the mortgage, right? I got to put food. A lot of people count on me, right? And so the music has to sometimes take a back seat because dad's got to handle his business, right?
That's right.
But when I get an email or a text or a tweet or something of anybody saying, hey, man, I really like you out. I really dig it. That means the world to me, especially when it's from a part of a country I've never even visited.
Yeah. You
know, when Japan, I'm streaming in Japan, that's crazy. I've never been to Japan, you know. It's a humbling experience. So to land your question, it's just a humbling experience, man. And listen, I get it. 1 million streams in the grander of things. Obviously, I can't quit my job, right? I can't quit what I do for a living. But it ain't about that.
No.
It's about the fact that I had something that was stuck in here that I was able to manifest, and that people on the other side of the world are listening and telling me, hey, man, I really like the album. It's a humbling experience, Tony.
All right. So I want to double back to Twista. Because you gave us, like you said, you know, you gave me a look in your window. But we really want to know, what was it like, you know, being in the studio, you know, with such an established artist, such a legend.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
being Twista.
This wasn't my first.
Was you in Chicago?
We was in Chicago. So
he was all the way in his element.
Yeah, we was in his studio.
Yeah.
Me and Twista go back to 2008.
Yeah.
I opened up for him a few times, but one of the significant times I remember was in the Union in Iowa City. That might have been 2009, 10. And and we really kicked it off. But every time we see each other, right?
Yeah.
He always calls me Iowa. I don't think he even knows my rap name because he always calls me Iowa.
Yeah.
Right? He knows that I'm Iowa, and even the years that we didn't see each other, you know, we had ran into each other in 2019. They had a big show, and his cousin Ty Mike was like, "Hey man, Twista, Do or Die, Psychodrama. They're all doing a summer '96 tour. Won't you come down?" So we did that, and you know, got backstage, and he's like, "Iowa, man, how you been?" I said, "I'm doing good, man. We just chopping it up." But prior to that, in 2010, he had a show in Davenport, and he had hit me up on X, and he said, "Hey, I'm staying at the Radisson. This is my hotel room. I want you to slide through." So I bought a bottle of Platinum Patron at that time in 2010, and I went up to the hotel, and we kicked it for about an hour and a half. And he's like, "Man, well, I got to jump on stage. Why don't you come on stage with me?" So I went on stage with him, and after that, we went back to the hotel till about 3 in the morning. It was me, him, and at the time, I'll tell you a funny story. So he was playing a record that he had with Shauna at the time, and I was like, "That's the closest I'm ever gonna get to a Twista verse." And him, everybody was laughing in the room, but I always believed that I could get it done.
Yeah.
And so for it to come full circle, to get a song with him and to be in the studio with him, and actually seeing him listening to my record, and then him writing, and then watching how he records the process, that blew me away because it's like the Wizard of Oz. You see past the curtain, right?
Yeah.
And that whole thing was magical. And I was just sitting there like, I can't, in my head, I'm processing, like, I can't really believe this is happening. I've daydreamed about this a million times.
Yeah.
And then for us to do it, you know, and for us to run it back on the B side, that's a blessing and a testimony of building relationships from the ground up, you know. And that's not saying that me and Twista are friends. I don't, you know, if I call Twista every day, just ask him how his day was, he'd probably block me. Yeah. Right? Because you got to have a level of being professional. Right. But there's a mutual respect. And for whatever rhyme or reason, I think it's because I'm a huge fan of him. And he knew that from the jump. Yeah. From the nights of, you know, hey, I got off at midnight, stopped at one of those mom and pop spots in Las Vegas to buy the album when it came out. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I bought Adrenaline Rush throughout the years, right? But that was a full circle moment. And that also was a testimony to that God was like, gotta make anything happen. Right? Because most people say to me, you know, how did I'm missing a piece here. I'm missing there's A and there's C, but the B is the sauce. So how did you even get interacted with him? Yeah. Yeah. That was God, and that was just years of just working that from the ground up. And that it doesn't just go for him. It goes with Do or Die. You know, Never for Crucial Conflict. Shout out to Never for. We talk almost every day. Yeah. You know, really good dude. Yeah. Same with Cap One, Buck from Psychodrama. I got a lot of talented people from Chicago on this album and the B side. And obviously, nobody does nothing for free. I get it. It's a business. Right. But you have to be able to build a foundation of a relationship of communication, right? Even with Scotty Music, who's an unbelievable talent, right? He's over there working with L Street and Shauna right now. And it was all in the Chance rap video. L Street, who was in our video. Yeah. Shauna, Scotty Music, Twista, Do or Die. I mean, we're in that cabal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's not impossible to make those connections, but you got to start somewhere. That's right. But that was the big home run hitter getting Twista.
So was there anything he did in the studio that night where he was like, you know, I'm about to go on to ask you about, you know, the boy Juan and somebody else that you work with a lot. Is there anything that you took from the studio that you seen Twista do in the studio that, you know, it's like, I'm going to try that in the studio?
Yeah. Well, you know,
and then also while you at it, can you know tell me you and Juan's relationship? Tell the world, you know, you and Juan, like who Juan is.
Well, the producer,
the engineer,
yeah, absolutely. So with Twista, he punched in. Yeah. Some of it off top of the head, and then some of it he wrote. It took him maybe 20 minutes to write and record that thing. Yeah. And I genuinely think the reason he went in, first of all, I knew the record. When with Twista and Do or Die specifically, or anybody, I know to put certain people on certain records.
Mm-hmm.
And the mindset of how my wheels of my brain works is like, yo, I need this to be a Twista record featuring me, but it's really him featuring on my album.
Yeah.
So how do I utilize to get the best version of Twista? Well, I need to put him on a record that would sound like it's his record. Same thing with Do or Die, right? Because once they hear that record, they're like, yo, they fall in love with it because it's in their wheelhouse, right? They're not trying to fit something in because, you didn't cut them a check or something, right? They're actually showing up because they believe in the record. And so it was 10 bars, and I was just like, he's going to absolutely body this. I know, he hears it, he's going to want to jump on this, and he's going to do what he does.
Yeah.
Same thing with Do or Die. With Juan, man, again, it's all about networking, right? And I believe, I want to say Juan is who told me about you. Now that I think about it, Juan is the one that told me about you.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about I need a camera guy. It was Juan that introduced me to you.
Oh, Juan, my boy. That's why I
that isn't. Now
I want to get into Juan.
We were talking about like how somebody introduced me. It was Juan that introduced me to you.
Yeah.
But with Juan, again, we know mutual people.
Yeah.
We see each other at the Y, and he's like, man, we need to work. We need to work. And I got an engineer who's in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah. So do you ship? So Juan doesn't do all your music then?
No. Juan doesn't do so. On the Prestige, I actually had 3 producers. I mean, multiple producers, but 3 engineers.
Okay.
I had 3 engineers, and then my main engineer basically put everything together.
Okay.
But Slice Kim, he worked on the project. Juan worked on the project. And then my man Angel worked on the project. All 3 of them unbelievably talented. They all bring something different to the table. And
it looked like you want to do a lot of work together. Out of the 3, it looked like well, that's what it looked like to me. Is it not that or
no? He did. He's just. I would say he's
the one that you're more hands on with.
I'm more hands on with him because I'm in the studio with him.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to work together when we're mixing a record down because I could be super anal.
Yeah.
And so when I'm working with somebody who's in Reno, Nevada, it's a little different because I'm not in the studio with him. So there's a lot of revisions that have to go back and forth and a lot of communication because what he's trying to do is paint the image that I have in my head.
Yeah.
Where I'm in the studio with Juan and it's real time. I can tap him on the shoulder and say, I want this. Let's do this. And we can brainstorm together. And so that's why I like working with Juan. Plus, he's a great guy.
Yeah, no,
he's very talented.
Very cool dude.
Yeah. And so
jack of all trades.
So he's a jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades.
And so me and Juan currently right now we're mixing the B side right now. So when you see me in the studio with Juan, we're mixing that B side down.
Okay.
And with him and Angel, those are my 2 main engineers. We're able to cook something up really special. Because you have to have a relationship with people. Tend to forget that this ain't you just record music and just put it out there. Like you got to protect yourself with the publishing and the copyrights. The second thing is you got to get a good mix, right? You can be as talented. Twista can be unbelievably talented, but Slice did that mix on Sexy Girls,
right?
It wouldn't sound phenomenal.
So I had to stop the conversation there because I heard you talk about publishing and copyright. So that what you saying, I would assume that a lot, if not all, your music is original music. You own all of your music.
I own all the masters.
So to the artists out there, you would encourage them to own their music.
I would encourage people to own their masters, to own their music.
Own what about the instrumentals?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times, man, if you can get the stems, it can get pricey, right? It can absolutely get pricey, and not everybody is ahead of the game with a $1.5 million budget. I certainly know I'm not. Right? So a lot of times you might have to lease a beat, right? But you get the stems, right? And you read you get contracts and all that stuff. Everything is on paper. I get a feature with somebody, even if it's Derek Levi, it's on paper. My wife, it's on paper.
Yeah.
Right? There's got to be a paper trail simply because you got to protect yourself, right?
Right.
Because, a lot of these companies, a lot of these labels and the A&Rs, man, what they do is they try to buying records for mainstream artists, and they'll fuck you over any way they possibly can, right? I mean, need I say more about what's going on with Kevin McCall, right?
Right.
Now, part of that is he did that to himself, right? I don't think I would have burned a bridge with Chris Brown, but that's just me, right? But I also, but I also wasn't in those rooms, right?
Right.
But your negotiating power is at the table in the beginning, right? And so I try to be extremely fair, right? I won't put nobody's business out there, but there was an artist I wanted to work with, and he told me he wanted $1,000 for the feature. And I said, well, listen, if we do that, you have to sign some paperwork. I got to have a paper trail on everything. When it comes to money that I'm spending with rights, right? Percentages, rights.
Yeah.
And if they're willing to play ball, which most of them are, because they understand what it is, then we can make something happen.
Right.
I wanted to get a record with an individual, and we weren't able to make it happen because I didn't like the terms.
Right.
And the money wasn't the issue, but it was the terms of how I wanted this record. And so it didn't manifest.
Right.
So I went a different direction, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and you got to protect yourself, right? Because if somebody wanted to come up and say, hey, I love the prestige, but you're just not the guy of the look, but we want to buy your catalog, right? We want to buy all your music. We want to buy your masters. They want to cut me a check.
Yeah.
You know, and
whether there's somebody who then.
Yeah, and I'm protected in that way.
Right. And then if you got an artist that then downloaded beats and did all that type of stuff, they can't sell that.
No, and you got to be smart with that, man. You got to be smart with that. And, you know, here's a reality that a lot of people, maybe they know or they don't know, right? Is a lot of these producers, that's how they pay their bills.
Yeah.
They're not selling beats straight out. So they'll release a beat 15,000 times at $200 a pop.
Yeah.
Right. And they'll give you the leeway. If you're smart enough, you read that paperwork and you know what you can and what's allowed and what's not, right?
Right.
And you always want to get the stems of those beats because then your guy can maneuver stuff, change things around instead of it just being a straight MP3 or something you just ripped off YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's just say you got a beat off YouTube, right? And you just went ahead and recorded it and it's a banger. It's a hit.
Yeah.
It goes viral. It blows up.
Now they knocking at your door. Somebody else gonna be knocking at your door too.
Here's the thing: you didn't copyright nothing.
Yeah.
And so you did all that for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and so you got to protect yourself on the business side, and that's another reason why the album takes so long is because the creative part is easy. Sip on some apple pie, get in the vibe, open the notebook up, and let's go to work. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
The behind scenes of the business side of it is, hey, I got to pay for the mixing. I got to pay for these features. I got to pay for X, Y, and Z, the publishing. I got to pay for the producer.
Yeah.
I got to pay everybody's eating, but I'm the last to eat off of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I got to go get my camera guy to shoot a music video. I got to pay for that too.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's how these bitches are complaining, but that's the reality of it, right? And so I don't think a lot of artists really come out and say that stuff. Right? I don't know if it's some code that you're not supposed to say that stuff. But, I mean, I'm going to be authentic and real and let somebody know, like, yo, I put $20,000 into this, and I certainly ain't made my money back. And I probably will never make my money back. But it's not about that. To me, it's release therapy.
Yeah.
I needed this. I needed to put this album out for me. And I also wanted to, again, show my kids that they can do anything they put their mind to. But on the business side, you got to dot your I's and cross your T's.
For sure.
You know, if I were to have you on a song, right, we're going to have some paperwork.
For sure.
To protect myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because let's say Sexy Girls blew up, right? Goes viral and blew up. Well, I'm protected because I own that record straight out. Everything on that record I own. I own the masters to everything on that record. Yeah. And at the time, I didn't tell the producer that I had Twista on. And when the record came out, he called me and said that was a great play. Because I wouldn't have sold you that beat, what I sold you for. If I had known Twista was on it, I would have quadrupled the price. Yeah. Well, he can't do it now because I own it. That's why he called me up and said that was a good play.
Yeah, facts. So gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. So we got the IMAs coming up, you know.
Yes, sir.
In this weekend. You were voted for Album of the Year with the Prestige. So how you feel about that? You know, are you attending? Like, what's the move? Like, what's your thought put on that?
Well, first of all, again, I'm grateful. I'm humbled. humility.
Yeah.
The fact that I put in that hard work, right? When I was in the studio at nights, nobody was there, right? And I had a vision of, I'm gonna get this person and this person. Like the do or die record with Reese G, man. Everybody was spread out. AK was in Texas, B-Lo was in Chicago, Reese was in Florida, Dirty Sock, who produced the record. He was, I don't know where he was, right? So nobody was collectively around. Not to mention my engineer at that time was in Toronto.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, man, I got to get this record out. I got to put this record together because I knew in my head what it was going to be. Right. So nobody was there in that process of all that going down. So for me to be able finally to put the album out, to get over 1 million streams, to get the positive feedback of people, right? And to get recognized for that, I already won. Right? There's no award that they can hand me and I get on stage and be like, thank you. Like I've already won because I've accomplished something that in 2017 when I was donating plasma twice a week just to be able to have fuel and diapers for my baby. The last thing I was thinking about was the album, right?
Yeah.
In the back of my mind, I'm still writing, but I'm like, bro, this is like, it's, but I didn't want to give it up. So to be from that Jason of 2017 to being nominated for the album of the year, that's kind of a surreal moment. It's really a surreal thing.
Right.
Because I've noticed some of these people that are nominated in the same category as me, they got thousands of followers on Instagram. I got 300.
Yeah.
So I know that there was somebody, I don't know his name on top of the head, but he got like 70,000 followers.
Right.
And he added me and he shot me
and this one of the guys that's in your category.
Yeah, he texted me and it's like, hey, bro, you're dope.
Yeah.
But I know he's thinking what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like he's thinking like I got thousands of followers, I got the music, I got this buzz. I had never heard of this dude a day in my life. He got 300 followers on Instagram. He got pictures of his family. He got something with Twista, and I know they listen to the album.
Yeah.
And they're probably like, yo, they're scratching their head.
Right.
Because they're like, where did he come from? But I've always been there. Yeah. I like being the underdog. That's why I say Rocky is always my favorite franchise. Because I am an underdog. I know that I'm super dope. I know that it's a light switch that I can turn it on or turn it off. I can be draft pick and 100% draft pick when I need to be draft pick. And I know how to shut that off. And I can be Jason, the father, the husband, the friend. I can be that guy. But I always treat people respectfully. It doesn't matter. All type of walk of life can come up and talk to me. And they have. Right? I got people that text me all the time that I don't know them personally, but I gave them my phone number through social media. And I'll just say, man, they'll hit me up and I respond like, hey, have a good day.
Yeah.
Because I'm a regular dude. Like, and even if I had money and fame, I truly believe I'd still be who I am by the core because I've had money and I've lost it.
Yeah.
I've hit rock bottom and I didn't level up. And in between all that, I still stayed the same of who I am. So it means the world to me that I got nominated. I want to hopefully I can show up, right? But, I work at, where I work at.
Right.
And so it's a high demanding job. So if things got to get moved, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really in a position, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But hopefully I can show up. It's a great honor. It's my privilege. It's my pleasure to even be nominated with a lot of great talented people. I know you were nominated last year.
Yeah.
And you're nominated this year. So congratulations to you
on
that, big dog, for real, because you deserve it 100%. And I'm glad that we got some representation from Davenport.
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple more people. I can't name them all off the top of my head, but I know for sure you're going to be there. I know I'm going to be there. I think I seen Dave Baker. I don't know if you know who Dave Baker is.
No.
He the DJ up at St. Ambrose. I know I seen him on there. Lawrence Hills, you ever heard of them?
No.
They go, they're not all not from here, but Ro Pesci, he from here, and yeah, he gonna be there. There's a couple of people I know that's gonna be there, but
and I don't know, and a lot of these people I don't know, right?
But I worked with you probably, out of the people that I'm talking about. And
yeah, but
so you as an attribute to, my meaning. You feel me? Of me being there, like, like you one of the reasons.
Vice versa. We feed off of each other, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a record, you had the eye, right?
Yeah.
We collabed on several videos. All of them are phenomenal, right? Extremely professional. They look incredible. You clearly landed the plane. on not one, but all 6 videos that we shot, right?
Right.
And that meant something to me. And we were able to build that, right? And so even if I don't talk to you every day, or even if we ain't doing right now maybe any business, right? But we built that relationship, right? Where we'll shoot each other a text and bullshit each other about the Ravens and the Bills, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about, building those relationships, right? Of, you know, never burning a bridge, and you never know when you're gonna have to go through a door, right?
Right.
You and me are eventually down the line, we're gonna work on more videos, right? We're doing this podcast. We talked a couple of days ago. I saw the incredible podcast that you did with Tone the Boss. Shout out to Tone the Boss and you. And I was like, man, that would be a great slot to, one, promote the album, two, bring awareness to the album and the music awards. And I thought it was a great fit, and I appreciate you making the time to make this happen.
Oh no, bro! I always got the time for you. You heard, you call that phone. Hey, let's go. You heard that time? Funny story about me. I think it wasn't the first video. That wasn't the first video. I think it was the video where we was finna go out of town for the first time, and I was finna ride with you out of town.
Y'all there, right?
Yeah, and you had texted me like, "What's the address, bro?" And I sent you my address.
And I said, what? I said, hold on, wait a minute. What's your address again? And we were literally like next door.
Like his house is literally the house like right next door to me.
That was crazy. That's
crazy.
A true story,
yeah,
man.
I was
like, come again? You live where? I was like, well, shit, I'm walking over there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly how. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, so I like to talk to parents, because especially I see like you said, you post what you let people see, and you let us see that you taking care of kids, like you love the kids and stuff. So how do you balance that all out, with the music career and the entertainment and and the work, all that? How do you balance that out?
My wife is the real MVP of the Huffman household. She really is. Like, I don't give her enough praise. She deserves it, because she holds it down, and she's the anchor for all of us. And she's my anchor, and the kids are my anchor, right? And there were times where I was extremely selfish, right? And I did a lot of bad things and made a lot of bad choices and went left when I should have went right. And the best, I learned more in life than I ever did in school, right? Life taught me more than any classroom,
right?
But you can grow from that. Everything is a teachable moment, right? And I always try to, even when I fall on my face, I try to learn something from that. And so doing this album, like I said, it was a process. It didn't happen overnight, right? The Twista record didn't happen overnight. The Do or Die record didn't happen. The Torian Ball, none of that can't happen overnight. You listen to a 3-minute song and you go to the next song and you're like, this is a banger. But every song and everything has a story. It has an origin story of how that came to be. But really, man, the balance of that is, I think, you hear it. Like, I'm happy in my life, where I'm at in my life, right? Like, my home life is good. My family life is good. My marriage is good. I have a beautiful home. I got a dog. I like sipping on apple pie, sitting on my back porch and chilling. And sometimes I don't even go down to the studio, because I'm just like, what's more important right now? Going down there and knocking out a record, or throwing the football with the kids, grilling something out, throwing the football with my dog, hanging out with my wife and my children. And I'm able to balance that. Plus, my career is wide, right? If I know people that hate what they do for a living, and that bleeds into them at their everyday life. I don't hate what I do. Yeah, I work long hours in this third shift, right? But I love what I do. I get a piece of what I do. 6 hours, I'm not talking to anybody. And a lot of people don't know this, but I'm really an introvert. I know it's hard to believe, because
some people say it's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe that
I'm always out partying with
it's hard to believe.
I really don't. I can't. I don't.
I'm really an introvert. Like I said, it's a light switch. I could turn it on and turn it off. But most times, man, I really just like to just chill, right? And sometimes people don't know how to take that, because I think, I'm bougie, or I think I'm better than them, or, well, you don't want to hang out or talk to us. And it's nothing to do with that. My time is extremely limited, because half of my day I work. I'm working 13 to 14 hours night shift. I got to sleep. When we're done with this podcast, I'm going to go home and go to sleep. is I got to go to work, right? Plus, I go to the gym, try to get myself better. My kids play sports. My daughter is incredible in volleyball. My son's football season just ended. He was incredible. So I wear a lot of different hats for a lot of different people, but even with all that being said, I still have to make time for myself. And that's where the self-worth comes in. And that's where the album comes in, because it's a product of me pouring into myself,
Right.
betting on myself and believing in myself. So there's a lot of anchors, and clearly the number one anchor of all is God. Right? I believe in God. I talk to God every day. This is kind of a personable story, but we're being honest here. My favorite part of the day is when I drive the 88 up to Chicago. It's very dark on the 88, and I pull off on one of these off ramps, and I hop out every night for about 10, 15 minutes, and I walk the field. And the only lights, especially if the moon is not out, it's the stars. And I look up and there's thousands of stars. And sometimes I'll even lay on the grass and I'll just talk to God for 15 minutes. I'll talk to him. I bear everything out. It can be a heated conversation sometimes because I'm human, right? And I'm Superman to a lot of people. But who does Superman go to sometimes, right? Because as much as I love my wife and my children, they can't relate because they're not in the same position that I am. I ain't talking about music. I'm talking about being heavy like the crown, right?
Yeah.
I'm the head of the table.
Right.
A lot of responsibility falls on my head. Everybody in my house has a role they have to play, and it's an important role. But Dad's got to get it done. And so a lot of times I'll find myself sitting there talking to God amongst the stars. And that right there does more to me than going to church. I'm going to be honest with you. But that helps balance draft pick and Jason of the multiple hats. And I really, truly believe that God puts a gift in everybody, right? And if you don't water your gift, if you don't take care of your gift, you still got it, but it's dull, right? And I look at Lil Wayne's Carter 6 as a prime example of that. Unbelievable talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell when I listen to that album, he ain't watering his gift at all.
Right.
He's not. And you can tell that. I can tell when I listen to certain artists or certain music, I can tell that, you know what? The talent, the gift that God gave him is there, but they're not taking care of it.
Right.
And I think had this album come out in the time where I was at my lowest, it wouldn't sound the way it does.
Well, you heard that. So the last thing I got for them is, tell these folks where they can look for draft pick at, where they can find them at on the platforms. Is you got any shows coming up? I know you said you plan on attending the Iowa Music Awards, but where can people find you at?
Man, you could find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter or X. I got a YouTube page, Draft Pickio. It's not that hard to find me on Apple Music, on Spotify. I'm Draft Pick.
And it's spelled draft.
Yeah, it's draft with a space pick, so it's draft space pick. You can find me on all those social media sites. And like I said, man, follow me if you want to. Go down this journey with me, listen to my music. And to anybody and everybody that has, I just want to say thank you. And I genuinely mean that. I genuinely thank you guys because, for me to pursue my dream and for you to pursue your dream or anybody to pursue their dream, you got to have courage and you got to believe in yourself and you got to bet on yourself, even when everyone thinks you're crazy for doing it. They think you're delusional, but you need a sense of delusion to do it. And to end this off, there used to be a cartoon called Bobby's World.
Mm-hmm.
And
pull up on that,
yeah, but that really is my life, yeah. Right? Like I'm in Jason's world, I'm in Draft Pick's world, right? And anything is possible with God. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, for sure. Well, bro, man, I appreciate you for coming on the platform, man, and man, speaking your truth, man, letting people know how you feel and all that, bro. Like you said, you're attending the Iowa Music Awards, man, and I know I'm gonna be there. Like I plan on being there, so. Man, I hope to see you there,
We're
bro.
Speaking into existence, man. We both win, 20.
Oh yeah, man, we is gonna win. Come on, and if I don't win and you win, hey man, let me hop up on stage. And if I don't win, hey, my boy, hey, come on, draft me up, friend. You feel me? So.
And I want to end it by saying this real quick. It's Team Iowa, black and yellow, kapow.